Hello and welcome to News Central Television with me, Blessings Mosugu. The top stories at this hour. PDP sets up reconciliation committee ahead of NEC meeting. As to elect new national president as its former president, Emmanuel Osodike hands over. Ivory Coast main opposition leader quits office, vows to contest 2025 election. We've got the details in a moment. We begin the news from Abuja, where the People's Democratic Party has set up a committee to reconcile aggrieved members ahead of its National Executive Committee meeting. Now, the committee is to be headed by a former Senate President, Bukola Saraki. This was disclosed at the end of a meeting held at the Abuja Lodge of the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, on Sunday night. The meeting also had the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, in attendance. He, however, did not speak to journalists. Briefing journalists, the Bauchi governor said the meeting was convened ahead of the party's scheduled NEC, which has been slated for the end of May. He, however, disclosed that the party was strategizing to ensure that some of the state where the party had governors were reclaimed. Earlier on, a political scientist, Professor Simeon Nunn, joined us in the news and shared his perspective on the way forward for the PDP, and we'll bring you some of his views.
Than never, but I can tell you for free that they have waited for too long. This issue has lingered for so long, and they are just, well, playing politics about it. I don't see how serious they are now, because even just 2 days ago or so, 3 senators defected from, which state now? Jigawa or so. Now, you see, and these things are happening day in, day out. They are going to have meetings with the president, and after having a meeting with the president, they come to the ruling party. I thought that before now, they should have handled this thing, but they left it for too long. And it's already bad. One of my friends will say, if it's not too bad, it's already bad. You are only trying to, qualify how bad it is. I think it's already bad.
Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja has resumed hearings in the suit filed by suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the Nigerian Senate. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, representing Kogi Central, was suspended for 6 months in March 2025 following allegations of misconduct and making disruptive remarks during plenary sessions. Now, Akpoti-Uduaghan is contending that her suspension was a retaliatory act after she accused President of the Senate, Akpabio, of sexual harassment. Now, recall that earlier in April, the court barred both parties from making public comments on the case to prevent prejudice of the proceedings. Now, today's hearing is expected to address motions filed by both legal representatives. Right now, our correspondent Joshua Imarai joins me from the court for some updates. Hello, Joshua. If you can hear me, what's the latest on the court proceedings?
Good morning to you, Blessings. Right from live here at the Federal High Court in Abuja. And I can tell you for sure that the entire proceeding has been adjourned till tomorrow, Tuesday, 13th, to hear on the contempt issue. Now, this is how it happened. Upon commencement of proceedings this morning, the entire parties announced to the court that they have filed the necessary paperwork and the necessary document for the trial to resume hearing as order. Well, the entire thing took a drastic turn as the counsel representing the Senate, that's the person of Paul Dauda, told the court that there was an initial ruling that no social media posts should be made, and the court had ordered that there should be no social media publication or streaming. Then the counsel representing the Senate, however, said that the plaintiff in this issue, that is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, had flouted that rule and informed the court that he had filed the necessary paperwork and application to show that there was a contempt to court. Well, the counsel representing Natasha and Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan objected, saying that particular social media post she made earlier was unconnected to the entire issue. That the issue before the Senate now is the contention of a suspension saying that it was illegal and was premeditated as a result of the issue she raised. They argued back and forth. Well, the court in its wisdom had to adjourn to tomorrow, 12 o'clock, to hear on the contempt suit. That means the entire proceedings, the hearing on a suspension and a responsibility in the Senate is on hold until the rule on the contempt suit filed before Honorable Justice Peter Yaku.
All right. Thank you so much, Joshua Marai, for the updates. And definitely tomorrow, which the proceedings will be, we'll definitely look to you to give us more updates on that as well. Thank you. Now to more stories. The immediate past National Vice President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Chris Piwona, a professor of medicine and consulting psychiatrist, has been elected the union's national president. Piwona, a former dean of students' affairs at the University of Jos, Plateau State, emerged victorious at an election during the union's 23rd National Delegates Congress, which commenced on Thursday, May 8, and concluded on Monday, the 12th of May, at the University of Benin in Benin City, Edo State. Now, the new president defeated his opponent, Adamu Babayo, a professor from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State, Northeast Nigeria. The immediate past president of the union, Emmanuel Osodeke, who was elected in May 2021, has handed over to his successor. Now, thousands of candidates who sat the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination are set to file a lawsuit against the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. This follows widespread complaints of technical glitches and incomplete questions that allegedly marred the exams. Last week, JAM announced that over 1.5 million out of the 1.9 million that sat this year's UTME scored below 200 out of a total 400 marks. The outcome raised concern in the country, with the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, asserting that the mass failure showed effective anti-malpractice efforts by JAM. However, an education advocate, Alex Onyea, announced that legal proceedings would commence at the Federal High Court on Monday against JAM. Onyea revealed that over 8,000 defective students had submitted formal complaints calling on JAM to release details, marking sheets, and allow candidates to verify their scores. Let's go now to security matters. News Central has been able to confirm that 2 suspected gun runners and kidnappers in the Barikin Ladi local government area of Plateau State have been arrested and currently held at the headquarters of Operation Safe Haven in the state. The spokesman of the Operation Safe Haven, Major Nantip Zakom, had disclosed in a statement on Sunday that the troops of the Joint Security Task Force Operation Safe Haven carried out a sting operation in the early hours of Saturday, or Sunday rather, May 11, at the Marit Mazad in the Barikin Ladi local government area of the state. The suspects, identified as Yahya Adamu and Saidu Haruna, were arrested during a series of intelligence-led operations conducted in collaboration with the Security Intelligence Agency. News Central's Chizoba Aniwe has more from the headquarters of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State.
Operation Safe Haven and those of them from other sister security agencies on the back. They have been tirelessly working to ensure that they bring perpetrators of these different crimes on the plateau to book by arresting them first of all, and then interrogations and all those who follow. So right here behind me, if you can see, this is the headquarters of Operation Safe Haven in Plateau State. This is their headquarters, and they have other sectors in all the local government areas of the state, 17 of them. And of course, there's some other states bordering Plateau, like Kaduna, Gombe, and Taraba State. And so at the headquarters there, I've spoken with their media officer, Major Samson Zakom, who has also said that this operation was carried out early this morning. And that is to show that they are not giving anything to chance to ensure that perpetrators of these crimes are brought to proof. And he went further to say that these people that have been arrested upon interrogation showed that most of them were behind most of these crimes happening in Plateau State, which nobody is happy.
Now, a security expert, Dr. Dixon Osage, joins me now to look at the significance of the successes gained by the military in waging the banditry and insurgency war in some parts of the north. Dr. Dixon, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome on the news.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Dixon. Now, I think my first question is going to be, can we have a quick assessment of the security situation in Plateau State in particular?
Oh, thank you very much. The news coming from the Trade Division is a good news. We've seen a lot of crises going on in Plateau State, criminal activities, communal clashes, religious brutality, and ethnocentric brutality as well. Plateau State has been in the news in the past few weeks, whereby we have a lot of communities being erased and being destroyed by most of these criminal elements. And when you have one or two persons who sells arms and ammunition to criminal elements being arrested by our government security forces, it's a good one for them, because for crime to flourish or for these guys to continue exploiting the vulnerability of our security agents, they need arms and ammunition. Plateau State, from inception, I was born in the north, Borno State, I've been in Sokoto State and Zaria, and when I was a child, I think we'll be hearing about this ugly incident in Plateau State. It never started today. It's been a long time incident, and it has really, brought the state of Plateau to a negative limelight across the globe. And one would wonder if we have leadership in Plateau State. The governors claim they're doing their best. The security agencies also claim they're doing their best. But I will derive my judgment from the words of Sarah Appeals. In 1822, during the police reform, he said, the best form of assessing the effectiveness of policing is the absence of crime. If you ask me to assess the present situation in Plateau State, I'm going to assess it by the words of Sarah Peace. Do we have criminal activities taking place in Plateau State? Yes, we have. Do we have communities living in a state of fear? Yes. A lot of people in Plateau State are living in a state of fear. So for me, I strongly believe that the situation in Plateau State has not been contained in respect of crime prevention methodology. So our government security forces must understand that they are solely there to bring Nigeria to a state of peace. So what I will advise the security forces in Plateau State is to carry out a crime mapping analysis. Because I observe, with due respect to our security forces, that we are being reactionary instead of being proactive. When you are being reactionary, you are going before the loss. When you are being reactionary, you are going after the death of Nigerians, and that tells you that security has been defeated. For you to uphold security and safety, you must go before the loss. You must go before the killings of Nigerians. So the arrest of these two guys in Plateau State is a good one, and I'm disappointed in the news breaker, because I had expected that they would have just keep quiet and carry out the sting operation to arrest the rest accomplice. But now the news is all over the country that the Nigerian military have arrested some people in Plateau State, and those that are accomplices, the accomplice, they will take a departure, or they might want to run away from Plateau State, or maybe hide from being arrested. So that's why sometimes crime and management is very important. Intelligence management is also very important. But kudos to the Nigerian Army for a job well done.
Okay, so there are repeated allegations of sabotage or outright complicity against the military in some parts of the north. Do you think that there is sufficient sincere effort in addressing these misgivings from the locals against the military?
Fantastic question. You see, like Maiduguri, for example, some few years ago, most of these criminal elements, Boko Haram, for example, went to a community and killed almost everybody in that community. Why? They carried out this heinous act because they were informed that one or two of these community people were giving information to the Nigerian military, to the government security forces. And I rightly talked about information management and intelligence management. It's so sad that we have one or two bad elements within our security forces that also feed these terrorists the information they got. Because when Boko Haram carried out that deadly attack against the community, they were angry because they were passing through that community, and one or two persons briefed the Nigerian military. And some persons from the security agents, briefed Boko Haram that here's where we got the information from. So I think the Nigerian military, the Nigerian police needs to purge himself from internal threats, and those by one or two bad officers that are sabotaging the airport of our brave officers and men, and also of our police officers. Some time ago, Boko Haram led an attack against our forces in a part of Maiduguri, and when these forces, when they were decimated, and one of the Boko Haram that was unveiled was a soldier who was, within that unit. So if we want to get this fight right, first of all, the security agent must purge himself from those bad elements that are sabotaging their effort. Then secondly, they need to also, ensure that they manage information they are getting from the civilian populace, because nobody want to die giving out information. And that is where our forces need to understand that they need the people to succeed. They need the community to succeed, and that is where information management comes to play. When you get information from this neighborhood, from these communities, try and protect that information so that these communities don't get attacked by this criminal element. Then moving forward, I think for us to succeed in this fight against Boko Haram and this insurgents, we need to be truthful to ourselves. The military cannot fight this fight alone. When it comes to counterinsurgency, it's not all about military-centric effort. It's both military-centric and population-centric. The military is only there to, go after this criminal element, take hold and rebuild. The military are carrying out these three formations alone, which is not supposed to be. Because when it comes to counterinsurgency, you need to go after this element that you take over the territory, you hold the territory and you build. So when the military take over, the political will should come aboard. But there's nothing much is coming from the political angle. The war has been left to our military guys alone, and that is not counterinsurgency. So counterinsurgency is both military-centric and population-centric. That means we need to have some political will to be able to wipe out these criminal elements invading our territorial space.
All right, Dr. Dixon, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on that.
Thank you for having me.
We move on to more stories. Meanwhile, the federal government of Nigeria has been urged to adopt the establishment of rural grazing areas known as Ruga settlements to end the persistent farmer-herder clashes that have caused significant loss of lives across the country. This appeal was made by livestock expert Dr. Idris Gabdo during a live appearance on News Central Now on Sunday. The call comes amid ongoing violence and displacement caused by clashes between farmers and herders, a crisis that has severely impacted food security and stability in Nigeria. Now, Dr. Gabdo acknowledged that the farmer-herder conflict is a complex issue, but emphasized that creating designated rural grazing areas would provide herders with specific locations to reside and graze their cattle, potentially fostering lasting peace between herders and farmers.
There are political inclination, there are political affiliation, there are also ethno-religious, and there are also tribal and regional issues, actually. But sometimes we know primarily the main causes is that, but sometimes politicians and other people do take advantage of the situation to ignite and cause mayhem to the team agrarian or the herders. Our government is doing a lot, but sometimes they are not intentional. What I mean that they are not intentional, we all know that the best approach to address this issue is ranching. What I mean by ranching is using a rural grazing area known as Ruga, locally known as Ruga, whereby we know the herders, when they are in the movement from one location to the other, transform and pass, if you can make them sedentarily by putting them in one location, giving them all the basic amenities, the issues of fight.
Coming up on the news, residents welcome plans to convert Abia government house site to hotel amid controversies. We'll bring you the details of the story and more right after the break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, in Katsina State, ordinary men have become unlikely soldiers. Farmers, traders, and fathers, now armed with little more than courage and weapons, stand as the last line of defense against bandits. But how did we get here? Why did they decide to join the vigilante? Well, Jamil Mabai brings us their gripping story of survival, sacrifice, and a desperate plea for help.
Sadiq Kwadewa once sold fish for a living. Today, he carries a gun to survive and protect his loved ones. Like hundreds of others across Katsina State, he never wanted to be a vigilante, but banditry left him no choice.
sun shigo garinmu a ranar Laraba suka ɗauki matar wani yayanmu, suka ɗauki ɗan shi, suka ɗauki wata matar wani abokinmu, suka ɗauki sannan kuma suka ɗauki tsoho wani abokinmu. To daga wannan lokacin naga ya kamata ma in aje wacce sana'a domin in zo in kare kaina, in kare iyalina, in kare haƙƙin mutanen garinmu, a mutanen al'umma ga Najeriya.
This is the evolution of Katsina State vigilantes, from farmers and traders armed with din guns to a structured frontline force. Their greatest weapon, an intimate knowledge of the terrain, which even the most elite of Nigeria's security forces lacks.
They know the terrain more than the security agents, and in most cases they know these bandits and their informants more than the security agents.
And the good advantage of these vigilantes, they know the terrain, each and every one of them. If you go to Bazari, the vigilantes that are there, they know every nook and corner of Bazari, and they know the hideouts of the bandits. They know their capacities, they know their identities.
Their tactics are inspired by trauma and pain. Many of them have felt the biting reality of banditry. They have become victims in their ancestral homes. Abdul Rashid Osman joined after surviving 4 assassination attempts.
Barayi sun mani riko kusan kashi 4 neman su kashe ni, Allah bai kashe ni ba. Shine ya jaza ƙara ƙarfin gwiwa ta in rike wannan aiki.
Sa'idu Gambo, once a critic, picked up a gun when bandits kidnapped his grandchild.
Abin da ya ja hankali na ya shiga biziranci, a da ni nan in ka ganni in na ga dan banga a da wani lokacin kyamar shi nake. Dalilin shiga ta wannan aiki tun ina jin labari wai sai Allah ya kawo bandit yan iska suka zo a garin mu, suka dauki sarakuwata, suka dauki jika na, suka dauki mata abokina.
Their plea is simple. They want real military support. Many of them are farmers, fathers, uncles, all failed by the system.
Muna samun koma baya ga sojoji irin yadda duk ba a zato. Saboda dabbobin nan na nan karkara ba na cikin dajin ba suna nan inda suke har yanzu. Kuma mun san inda suke ba mu san inda suke ba. Babban abin da ke ba mu takaici yana ba mu mamaki. Wata sa'a jirgi in ya zo sai ya zanto taimako ne ga su bandit. Idan zai jeho a nan kaya sai dibi wani hilin banza can ya jeho su ya tafiya su.
Until the war reaches its end, Katsina vigilantes say that they will keep fighting. The big question remains, how many more must trade their livelihoods for guns? In Katsina, for News Central, I am Jamil Mabai.
Now, criticisms have continued to trail the composition of the National Housing and Census Committee set up by the federal government to look into financing and mode for the forthcoming census. The committee, chaired by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, has 5 members drawn from the Southwest. Now, critics of the committee mostly believe that many of its compositions are lopsided and do not reflect federal character. The presidency, through the special assistant to the president on social media, Dada Olusegun, has attempted to defend the composition of the committee, arguing that its members were selected based on the relevance of their current roles to the success of the census. Now, the explanations of the presidency have not gone down well with some individuals, including the Ohaneze Ndigbo, who have argued and accused the federal government of intentionally sidelining the Igbos from the committee. The coordinator of Ohaneze Ndigbo Southwest Region, in an interview with News Central, had warned that the competition of the committee sends a wrong signal, which could be wrongly interpreted by the people during the census exercise.
Time out that we don't have stocks. We don't have anybody in the Southeast who have the merit to be in the committee. You know, like I said, federal government should please look into things that unite us as a nation, not things that divide us. Mr. President was in Anambra State a few days ago. We are all happy. We accorded him one of the highest protocols and recognition that we can offer to our fellow citizens. All we're asking is a level playing ground. This second-class and third-class treatment being meted to Southeastern region is what have plugged us into this all kinds of protests. It is not acceptable to us. How do our people give a reception to the eliminators that will be coming over? While we are not, it's like we are being bapped our hair in our absence. Critical decision will be taken where there's nobody there to represent the whole region of Southeast. It will feel so bad. You know, it is like reminding us that the Biafran was not yet over.
Now, the House of Representatives' inaugural policy dialogue ongoing. The dialogue is expected to enhance understanding of the House legislative agenda, strengthening partnership of stakeholders, as well as integrate stakeholders' input to legislative priority. Our correspondent Idong Joseph is standing by at the event to bring us the update. Hello, Joseph. Good afternoon to you. What is the latest from the policy dialogue where you are right now?
Okay, if you can hear me, thank you, Blessing, for having me. I don't know if you can hear me.
Right, I can. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay, behind me here is the hall where the National Policy Dialogue is taking place and is being organized by the House of Representatives. And what this dialogue seeks to achieve is to bring stakeholders together, open the parliamentary process to stakeholders so that they can also make inputs. And if you could remember when the 10th House of Representatives was inaugurated in June 2023, it's inaugurated an ad hoc committee to come up with a roadmap for how it's going to run its affairs, and it came up with a legislative agenda, and that is what they brought stakeholders here to reflect on what it has done in the last 23 to 24 months, and also to look at where it has to do more, and in the next 2 years, improve on those areas. And so the Deputy Speaker have spoken, and even past legislators have also spoken and commended the House for what it has done. And though they said so many things need to be done, especially in area of women inclusion, that there are no much women, even though we had much women contested the election in 2023, and that the House needs to do more, especially in mainstreaming women into the ongoing constitutional review process. And the Deputy Speaker highlighted that about 1,059 bills have been considered by this House, and that 8-point agenda, which is set out to guide its workings, that all these bills have fallen in line with this, and this is what it is. This is what's happening here at the moment.
All right, thank you so much, Idong Joseph, for giving us the updates. Now, the recent announcement by the Abia State government to convert the sites and structures of the state's new government house has been applauded by residents and indigents alike. The controversy surrounding the neglect of the site by Governor Alex Otti since assuming office in 2023 came to the fore again last week. The Commissioner for Information in the state, Oke Kanu, took some journalists to tour the facility that has elicited lots of concerns. News Central's Chinwe Ugele has more.
Quite a lot of things are happening, and we just want to reassure Abians that this government will never misuse the resources of this place. So that's why we are converting this place to a 5-star hotel. We won't allow it to waste. The government will want a different international hospitality chain to run this one.
It is no longer news that former Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, in the company of his colleagues, commissioned this project in the twilight of his administration. But to the amazement of the people of the state, Governor Alex Otti totally avoided the new site, raising questions to his reasons. Recently, Anambra State government unveiled the state's new government house, which might have instructed the decision by the Abia State government to completely jettison the new site. During the facility tour, which comes 23 months after assumption of office, Commissioner for Information Oke Kano declares the facility was not built for residential purpose.
Most of what we saw up there were just halls, empty halls. Did anybody see any wardrobe in any of the floors? There were no wardrobes. So this one begins to wonder, the person and persons that designed this so-called government house, one begins to wonder what they had in mind when they designed this kind of government house and expected a governor to come and live in this kind of place. This place appears uninhabitable.
This announcement does not come to the people as a surprise because they feel it has been a waste of resources, allowing it to lie unused.
Since governments, they've decided to use that place as a 5-star hotel, I think economic-wise, they must have studied and know that it will benefit the states.
Assets that are not yielding profit or revenue to the state can also be converted to a revenue venture, so long as there is an alternative. When I mean authority, I'm talking about another befitting government house, and instead of allowing that particular infrastructure to lie fallow without generating any revenue. And also, remember, if the government is actually going to turn it to a 5-star hotel, it's also going to generate employment.
While the governor continues to operate from his private residence in Mvosi, Isialang, the South local government area of Abia State, citing the uninhabitable condition of the new site, the masses will also want the governor to occupy the old official residence and office space where others before him lived and worked in. In Omahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugele.
Now, for over 8 months, residents of the Abuja Sheraton area in Maiduguri have been living without electricity, a situation they blame on the failure of a government agency to repair a faulty transformer. Now, the community's frustration has grown as not only the power supply being cut off for an extended period, but there are also allegations that the government agency responsible for repairs gave away the transformer to another community, despite residents' collective efforts to fund its restoration. News Central's Umoru Kirawa completes the report.
The Abuja Sheraton community, known for its growing population in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, relies heavily on electricity to power essential services like water supply and health care. With the power outage still unresolved, these services have been severely impacted, leaving residents struggling with water shortages and limited access to effective medical facilities.
The governor is making effort to make sure the community is enjoying, but some few individuals are sabotaging the effort of the governor. The hospital needs light. At times, if there is cloud, the solar there cannot perform well. And many community households here have boreholes, and they are assisting their neighbors with water, but no light. So we are calling on the government to please urgently look into our plight.
These things happen 3 times. We have been following up to get the transformer, but unfortunately proved abortive. Finally, we got information from a reliable source that our transformer has been taken to another place, of which we are not happy with it. In fact, we are happy to see you in our community to say our grievances with regard to this one.
Bol ba ma samun ruwa da mutane za su sha unguwa, ruwa ana sayan kusan naira 500. So ka gani da lokacin da akwai wutan nan kuma gaskiya muna samun 200-300. Kuma yawanci ma muna da gidajen da suke da bowl wanda su suke taimakawa makwabtan su ma. Ba sai an yi wani abu ba. Gaskiya mu tun da aka yi mana wannan kwaltan da drainage nan ba abin da zamu ce sai dai mu yi wa gwamna godiya. Yayi mana amma yanzu wannan abin da yake damu mu shine wannan.
The lack of power has disrupted daily life in the area as households and businesses are forced to rely on expensive alternatives.
It's really affecting our business seriously. Assuming there's light, the business will flow. Anywhere that comes, you will get something very cold. But now, no light, nothing, so they don't have anything cold for them to take. So it's affecting us seriously.
Gas kullum da ka siya gas na 5,000-6,000 kafin ka yi amfani da gas ka yi amfani da shi. Kuma wayancan su da suke amfani da wuta daga the same price da ku sayar da abunku. Amma duk da haka na su yafi naka sanyi duk da hakan, amma kuma duk da haka da ku siya. So muna roƙo a samu mana transformer.
Ana samun kuɗi ba wuta, amma inda wuta wani sa'in ma hin hikar ban zo bane inda wuta can go aikin gona nake.
The ongoing situation has put additional pressure on the community's resources and has heightened calls for accountability.
Ko dare yayi ma ka fito a cikin anguwa haka kaga duhu sosai ba ko ina bane ake sola ko kuma generator ya zama ko ina akwai duhu idan zai yi sai a dan ko mana.
Efforts to speak with Yola Electricity Distribution Company on the issue proved abortive. I called the regional manager. He asked me to speak with the Bulunkutu business unit. I've tried to reach the man in charge, but he's not picking my calls. When I sent text message, the manager responded that he has no clearance to grant interviews. He asked me to contact the regional HR, but her line is not reachable.
Community leaders of Abuja Sheraton here in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, have vowed to continue pressing for an action and are calling on the government to restore power to the community to benefit the citizenry. From Abuja Sheraton in Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Coming up on the news, Ivory Coast main opposition leader quits office, vows to contest 2025 election. We'll tell you more about this after the break. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us on the news. Now, Ivory Coast main opposition figure Tidjane Thiam has stepped down as leader of the Democratic Party, the PDCI, but pledged to continue his campaign for the 2025 presidential election. Now, his resignation follows a court ruling barring him from the race over nationality issues. Authorities say Thiam forfeited his Ivorian citizenship by acquiring French nationality in 1987. Despite his renunciation of French citizenship earlier this year, his exclusion from the electoral list has sparked controversy within the opposition. An internal legal challenge also contests Thiam's legitimacy as PDCI leader, prompting the party to appoint Deputy President Ernest N'Koumo Mobio as interim head. Thiam, however, reaffirmed his determination to lead the party to electoral victory despite legal and political hurdles. Now, migrants at a shelter near Chiclayo, northern Peru, fondly recall encounters with the Pope, who helped establish the shelter during his time as bishop. Many see him as a symbol of hope for future attitudes towards migrants. Venezuelan migrant Ginel Gutierrez shared that he is well known in the migrant community because he's really helped and collaborated a lot with migrants. Gabriela Murillo also praised his warmth and humility. Even though he was a bishop, he didn't know his distance. He hugged us, he shook our hands, interacted with us face to face. The stories reflect the deep personal impact that the Pope had on vulnerable communities during his ministry.
De verdad que sí, bueno, estamos esperanzados, porque si no es menos cierto que en muchos lugares no nos aceptan, bueno, tampoco es menos cierto que de verdad que la población necesita, no todos somos malos.
Lo que me llamó mucho la atención y me gustó fue que él nombró su diócesis de Chiclayo. Eso es bonito, pero de verdad a mí se me erizó la piel porque es algo que usted dice, o sea, una persona que uno tuvo la oportunidad de conocerlo y ya es papa, imagínense, es una experiencia muy bonita, de verdad.
And to business, Nigeria's total public debt surged by 57.3 trillion naira to 144.67 trillion naira between June 2023 and December 2024, a 65.6% rise driven by naira depreciation and new borrowings, according to the DMO. External debt doubled from 33.25 trillion naira to 70.29 trillion naira, while domestic debt rose from 54.13 trillion naira to 74.38 trillion naira. In dollar terms, debt fell from $113.42 billion to $94.23 billion. FGN domestic debt increased by 22.1 trillion naira to 70.41 trillion naira. Eurobond debt climbed from $15.62 billion to $17.32 billion. The naira fell from 770.38 naira per dollar to 1,535.32 naira per dollar. Meanwhile, Nigeria seeks a $500 million World Bank loan to boost agriculture amid 2024's 31 million food insecure citizens and 25% GDP agri-sector share. Now, the Enugu state government is set to unveil major transportation projects by May 29, 2025, marking its second anniversary. These include the launch of Enugu Air, a state airline with 3 aircraft, 2 of which have already arrived. Additionally, the state will introduce a fleet of 100 CNG-powered buses, with 50 already in operation and the rest arriving soon. 5 ultra-modern bus terminals would also be inaugurated. Long-term plans include establishing a CNG and electric vehicle manufacturing plant. The state will also launch the Enugu Smart Transport Program, introducing over 2,000 electric vehicles and digitizing ticketing within 150 days. And to sports now, Remo Stars were officially crowned 2024-2025 Nigeria Premier Football League champions on Sunday after a 4-1 home win over Ikorodu City in Ikenne. Now, although the title was secured on match day 35, the match day 37 victory marked their final home game and the trophy presentation. The win ended Ikorodu City's continental hopes and pushed Remo Stars to 71 points, 2 shy of the NPFL's second highest points record. This historic title is Remo Stars' first and also the first by an Ogun State club since the state's creation in 1976. The Sky Blue Stars are the first privately owned side to win the NPFL in over 20 years, capping a dominant season with a vibrant celebration attended by thousands of fans.
For a day where we're saluting teamwork, we're saluting discipline, we're saluting excellence, we're saluting resilience, because, like they say, success is 1% talent, 1% skill, but 98% resilience and teamwork, and that is what we're celebrating today. I want to first congratulate, on behalf of all of us here, Ogun State, Nigeria, the Remo Stars, their chairman CEO, Mr. Kule Amen. I also want to thank and appreciate the NFF and the Nigerian Sports Commission, because you can see that the Premier League has taken a different dimension. There's discipline, there's order. The Premier League that compares to any Premier League anywhere in the world. Even the timing. Today, also, they are concluding the Premier League in the UK. So it is now more predictable. I am extremely excited that for the first time in the last maybe 20 years, the Premier League is being won by an Ogun State team.
Still in sports, Virat Kohli has announced his immediate retirement from Test cricket, ending a 14-year career in the format ahead of India's upcoming 5-test tour of England. The 36-year-old finishes with 123 tests, 9,230 runs, and an average of 46.85 and 30 centuries. His retirement follows that of Captain Rohit Sharma earlier this week. Kohli debuted in 2011 and captained India in 68 tests, winning 40 more than any other Indian test captain. Despite a dip in recent form, his legacy as one of the modern Fab Four remains intact. Kohli had already retired from T20 internationals in 2024, but is expected to continue playing ODIs. His departure marks the end of an era in Indian Test cricket. Well, that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that PDP has set up reconciliation committee ahead of NEC meeting. We also told you that ASU has elected a new national president as its former president, Emmanuel Osodeke, hands over. And finally, we mentioned that Ivory Coast's main opposition leader has resigned from his office but still vows to contest 2025 election. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Also, do also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, GoTV, channel 23, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Mosugu.